what a moment.
Yeah, they did it right. That was a big moment. That was a cool moment. You know what they should have played, though, yesterday, right?
Patiently waiting, right?
They should have played this for me.
Oh. Oh, yeah, you did well.
I'm out here, baby. Come on. Show me some love. I said Rams around this time last year, and it came into fruition. Old Dirt McGirt with the call. Hit a single game parlay. Had Rams in the under. It was a good time.
Ooh, that slot fade to Odell.
Slot fade to Odell.
As he wears the jersey.
As I got the jersey.
Best wishes, though, Odell, by the way. Poor guy.
Yeah. To add context to the video that was going around of him and Von Miller, that was like such a beautiful video. And him like crying. And, as someone that has torn their knee up, I didn't tear it in a Super Bowl, obviously. But, I always say this, man. You know when you fuck up. Yeah, like a body part. Like, when your arm is broken, when you hurt your knee. And he must have known, especially since he experienced it in the past as well. And I think he was probably just thinking of all the shit that he's been through. Yeah. Like the most polarizing player of our generation, I think, in the NFL. I think in the last 10 years, I think it's him and Cam.
Aaron Rodgers got put up there now.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers more so this year.
I think he's been polarized in the past. Because there were people out there defending Mike McCarthy. There used to be debates like Aaron Rodgers the problem. I'm like, what? So Aaron Rodgers, maybe not on that level, maybe not on a national level, but
yeah, I'm not sure if I agree because I feel like with Cam and Odell, there was always the debates of, well, are they overrated? Was it just like a?
Oh, so you mean on a talent level, not like a?
Yeah, like no one ever said, oh, Aaron Rodgers. Like polarizing Aaron Rodgers became polarizing
peak
because
this year, but but I know people that weren't like. He's not a top 3 QB, but which was always ridiculous. But no, I get what you're saying. That when it comes to rating them as overall talent, because like Rodgers is Rodgers, but people would actually say, like, yeah, Odell's washed or Cam's not good enough.
Yeah, Cam's not good no more. It was a fluke or whatever. Yeah. Like, that kind of quarterback doesn't last in the league and so on and so forth. And then with Odell, too, one thing, and I kind of want to go if we can, as best we can. And I'm going to have the game up in front of me, but I would love to kind of run through the game in order, kind of, as best we can. Okay. Like, going back to the first quarter. And I think the one thing that I noticed in staying with Odell is when he went down, and I know that was in the second quarter, but it seemed very obvious early on what the Bengals wanted to do. It was they were pressing up on Cooper Kupp, putting hands on him, putting bodies on him, throwing different looks, rotating coverages over to him too. I heard Will talking about this on a spot he did with WinBet. And it was setting up to be an Odell game. Like, he had 52 yards. I know it was only 2 catches, but he got open on the touchdown. He ran a nice route, but it was a hell of a pass by Matthew Stafford. But he got open on like that drag route for about 30-something yards. And then when he goes down, it kind of looked like the Rams got thrown for a loop because it was something we were spotlighting a lot in the build-up to this, how important he's been for their offense.
Right. Then they felt the loss of Higbee, too. Because it just...
And then Blanton goes down early.
Right. It became a big catastrophe. Like, who would have thought Henderson would have had a much bigger impact than anyone would have anticipated?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Henderson, bro.
Henderson made some plays. I love that throwback that they ran. They ran like a play action down the throwback back.
I feel like that's an Atlanta Falcons staple.
That's a Kyle Shanahan staple. Yeah, that's a full Kyle Shanahan thing. He's the master at that. But just the Rams were just so depleted. But good thing their offensive line, like pass protection wise, outside of Cam Akers running into Whitworth that led to a Hendrickson sack, and then Stafford had the weird play with DJ Reader. Or it was, DJ Reader. I get DJ Reader and Troy Reader. I don't know how I'm getting mixed up right now. But besides that, Stafford wasn't touched. They protect them very well. So thankfully, offensively, even though they were depleted with that skill position level, it was just, okay, at least Stafford could go through his progressions. And for the most part, Stafford played well.
Yeah. Stafford was 26 of 40 for 283, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The one interception, I felt like both interceptions...
They weren't on him.
They weren't on him.
Yeah.
The one to Van Jefferson before the half, you're trying to make a play.
You take that.
Yeah. It's basically, it turns into a punt, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to actually pin him, maybe Hecker goes out there and he's a great punter and he pins them inside the 10. I get it. But at that point, you're trying to make a play there.
3rd and 14 with 40 seconds left.
It's a punt. Yeah. So, whatever. And then the one that...
Scarborough.
Yeah. Skoronek?
I've heard 3 different pronunciations.
I know. Not Kupp.
Yeah. All I know is...
the white guy that's not Cooper Kupp.
All I know is, like, that's a play they run for Odell, and that's automatic 20 yards. With him, it somehow turned into an interception. That's the kind of things the Rams were dealing with once Beckham went out.
Yeah, once Beckham went out, it seemed like all the attention by Cincinnati was, yo, let's take away number 10. Mm-hmm. And, dude, they were doing that until that last drive. Like, all the Cooper Kupp shit happened after. He even got the end around, the no-look pass by Stafford, which I posted about it.
Stafford's signature move.
Back to Aaron Rodgers a little bit. He was on the McAfee show. We've quoted this many times before, how he's like, yo, he's been doing that shit since Georgia. Mm-hmm. It's just you guys didn't see it in Detroit. Mm-hmm. And that was a hell of a throw there. What'd you think of the... There was some questionable no calls and then questionable calls throughout that game, too.
That was questionable play calls.
Yeah, a lot of questionable stuff. Highly questionable, right? Yeah. But I do think that the referees kind of let them play, man.
Yeah, that's kind of been with the whole playoffs. Let them be physical. Like we saw it. I think the Chiefs-Bengals game was a prime example. Because I remember that first drive in that game, Higgins and Chase in that Chiefs game, both I felt got interfered with the hand call. So, and
especially with all the complaints throughout the regular season.
Right. So it's weird how they changed that standard. To me, because I'm always, it's kind of like similar to MMA. It's like I don't look at the magnitude of something and need to change the rules. You have to look at everything like it's a regular matchup. That's how you have to be objective with it. Like I don't care title fight. Oh, you have to beat the champ to beat the champ. No, this is a fight. Like if he outdoes you, you win. Or he wins, excuse me. If in the game, just because it's the playoffs doesn't mean a cornerback could be holding him for several yards. Like I heard there was controversy with the Logan Wilson
Cooper Kupp play.
Yeah, he had him hands for like 3 seconds before the pass was there. Like he was clearly impeding him from getting a clean grab on the ball. Like there was no clean coverage there. It was a clear penalty.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's a linebacker. You can't do that and expect to get away with it.
Yeah, and I think it's what you're saying. It's the magnitude of the game. It's a Super Bowl. It's a third down there,
It can't change your mindset. Like, you got to call everything how it is. Otherwise, you don't belong here.
Yeah. What'd you think of the running backs in this game? Because the Rams couldn't get anything on the ground. And Mixon was able to, Mixon was doing pretty well for himself. And he threw a touchdown pass.
The Rams... I thought they couldn't get a running game going because they were going against 2 of the premier run-stopping units in Tampa and San Fran, but that clearly isn't the case. It's weird. They were so good in pass protection, but they couldn't get anything going run blocking. And I think Akers is hesitant. His vision's not quite there, but Michelle couldn't do anything. Henderson just coming back. It was just very awkward. And, I think they only had 3 runs of 5 yards or more. Everything else was just either negative yards or 2 yards. It was just bad. And when you become one-dimensional and you're depleted at the skill position level, it's scary. And you could get creative. Akers is a capable receiver, Henderson obviously, but that's the fact that Stafford had to deal with all that. It just kind of shows you the magnitude of this performance.
No team in NFL history ever won a Super Bowl with less than 2 yards per carry until the Rams yesterday.
Man. The running backs don't matter crowd. Oh, man, they're coming out full force. Hate that crowd.
Yeah. You're looking at someone that spearheads some of those conversations. I want to highlight a couple of players in particular. I felt like Joe Mixon played really well for himself. Some hard running. I didn't understand. And, I feel like sometimes coaches try to outthink themselves, and they make it way too difficult, dude. I think the game... The most head-scratching decision of the game was the 3rd and 1 to Samaje Perine, where you're paying all this money to Mixon. He's running well. He ran well. He had 15 carries for 72 yards.
He had some big runs, too.
Had some big runs when Burrow got banged up. Mm-hmm. You notice they were in shotgun and just running the draw inside handoff because it didn't look like he was able to maneuver a lot, right? I thought his knee was done. When they showed the replay, he's grabbing it, and then you see him like yelling in slow motion, and you're like, fuck, man, not like this. You don't want this shit to end like that. And then either before or shortly after, Stafford goes down too, and he's grabbing his ankles like, oh my God, is this going to be Brandon Allen time against, I don't even know who the backup is.
Yeah, I don't know.
For the Rams. But you didn't want the Super Bowl to go down like that.
That would have been nasty.
But I don't understand why teams do this. Like, Mixon's running hot. It goes back to the Chiefs game, right? CEH and McKinnon were ripping 6-7 yard runs, and then they don't get the ball the whole second half. And in this situation here, you give it to Samaje Perine, and he gets stuffed by Aaron Donald there. It's like, yo, if I'm going down, bro, I'm going down with my guys.
Right.
Like, I'm giving it to Mixon. I'd rather you throw like a slant to Jamar Chase or some shit like that.
It's just Mixon's been consistent pretty much all year long, and he knows how to gain those extra yards. Like, he's able to run through contact. So just real perplexing decision. I know the whole thought process is, look, we need P.I. for pass blocking purposes because Mixon was responsible for allowing a sack. But look, Mixon's a capable receiver. Like, you got to be able to bounce out. You can't just take a player so talented off the field on third down just because he's not that great of a pass protector. You have to kind of work a way around it, you know. Try to maybe utilize him as a receiver, maybe have him and PR on the field at the same time. Who knows? But it was frustrating. A player that's been so integral to your success, how do you keep him off the field like that for a player who is marginal at best? Like,
yeah, he's your backup. Yeah. Is there anything? Tell me some stuff you want to highlight from this game.
Yeah, we haven't touched too much on the Bengals offense on the other side. Bengals offense versus Rams defense.
It came into play what we thought was going to happen, right?
Especially 7 sacks later.
And all the stuff. Joe Burrow, if you had to put a percentage of how many times he was pressured on dropbacks, what would you say? Like the amount of times he dropped back and he faced pressure, what would you say?
I'll say 58.
43% of dropbacks he was pressured. About half.
And
how much? It might have been 58 in the second half.
There were instances where he got the ball quick too. Like,
right.
That's a couple things I noticed. Burrow was looking good, understandably so, get the ball quick.
But the Rams defense in the second half got 6 sacks. They had 1 in the first half.
Right.
So I would have to look into it for the second half. But for the whole game, 43% of his dropbacks he got pressured on. Yeah. How many of that was them turning up in the second half too?
And I was surprised. Raheem Morris was blitzing more than I would expected. Like, I thought, okay, you could just win with 4, but he was going after. He said, I'm not going to depend on my second, because I think he saw Chase and Higgins have success. I know Higgins' touchdown was definitely controversial, but I think he saw the 2 receivers getting after Ramsey of all people, which was a huge shock.
Hey, Ramsey had some rough playoff moments. Mike Evans got him.
Right now, look, they won the Super Bowl.
Right.
We're not going to downgrade one over a couple of plays, but like Ramsey definitely, the whole shutdown mantra got attacked hard in this playoffs because he's known for being the alpha male. He got dogged in a couple of big spots.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah,
and
I didn't think his positioning was all that great. Again, like the Higgins play, okay, yes, it's offense pass interference. That initially I didn't think it was, but then you look at the face mask pulls, like, all right, it kind of was. But
isn't it crazy he didn't react more to it? Like, you've seen corners react for way less.
And Jalen Ramsey's known for blaming a lot of people besides himself. So.
But that was just, he looks egregious. Up at the ball, and then it gets yanked down, and then he looks up again, and then Higgins is running wild. It was...
And then he got beat by Chase, but then on the last drive just took a really bad angle and allowed Chase.
He tried to house that, yeah.
So it's just I highlight Darius Williams being the problem child, but clearly they were going after Ramsey, and I think that just shows you Burrow. Like, Burrow has no fear, which is why I think one of the main reasons why everyone loves him so much is just he don't care what the matchup is. Like, he's confident in his playmakers to win on the outside and get the yardage.
Yeah, look, they were doing a lot. Those 2 guys, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Chase got behind Ramsey on one play that set up a McPherson field goal. He got away, Higgins, with 74, 75 yards to start the half on that one OPI. But he let up 161 yards in coverage, the most in his entire career. Oof. And he was charged with 5 catches and a TD. And look, he made that play kind of, but when I watched the replay in the first half, T. Higgins at the goal line, he ends up batting the ball away, but the ball was already dropped. It's like Higgins went up for it. It hit off his face mask. Mm-hmm. He wasn't going to come down with it, but Ramsey just solidified that it was not going to be caught.
Higgins could have made a better play. Burrow could have placed the ball a little better, but I didn't really think it was all that impressive play by Ramsey. I thought it was a waste opportunity by Bengals, and they wasted a few opportunities in the red zone, especially after the second interception from Awuzie. Like, if they would have got a touchdown there, it would have made things a lot more interesting. But I think that's one of the problems with the Bengals is just sometimes they couldn't finish drives. We saw that in a couple of games in the playoffs. But I'll give credit to Zach Taylor. At least he showed more aggressive intent, because Zach Taylor's reputation is being one of the more conservative coaches. But on fourth down, a couple spots, he went for it because I think he knew, like, okay, we got to score points. We know McVay's going to go for it. Like, obviously, as my mentor, I got to put trust in Burrow's hands. Forget being conservative. Forget going by these principles. It's like, I have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I got this offense. Let's score some points. So
when the Bengals got the ball back on the last drive, did you think that they were going to score? Has Burrow entered that realm of, they're going to go down and tie it? Because that's how I felt. I was thinking they're going to overtime.
Yeah, I thought they were definitely going to get a field goal, especially the McPherson factor.
And then even that last drive, if you remember, I have the plays here. He hits Boyd for 9 yards, who Boyd had a bad drop, which probably
would have
cost
been
him
automatic first.
First down, his first drop of the year, coming at a bad spot. You know what that reminded me of, dude? Wes Welker against the Giants in 2011.
That was a much harder play, though.
Way harder play, but I'm talking
20 yards down the seam.
Absolutely, and he threw it kind of behind him.
But the importance of it, I agree.
But yeah, and then at the time, both the teams that were on defense were trailing in that game.
Right.
Those kind of ice it or set you up to kill more clock, whatever it might be, and you go in for a score. But that last drive, right? Boyd catches a pass for 9 yards. Then there's that miscommunication with Chase, where Burrow throws it deep, but Chase undercuts the route. And then the wide shot of it, Chase is wide open. The corner fell. Right. And then it's the handoff to Pirine where Donald makes the play. And then Donald ends the game with the hit on Burrow.
We've gone too long for not talking about Aaron Donald.
I mean, we were going to spend a lot of time on it. And I also want to have, the legacy conversation too. But dude, he did everything that we thought he was going to do.
I think the first sack it was where the right guard was he was stutter stepping. I don't know, he had his feet going, and Aaron Donald just gets under his shoulder pads, just pile drives into the Joe Burrow. Donald has these moments where it's not even fair. He's just playing another sport. He just takes the guard and just throws him out of the way or puts him in the quarterback's lap. Just ridiculous. And he's been doing that all of his career, but just to see him do it on a level, and I think he had a real point to prove, because you have there were a lot of impressive things the Patriots did in that Super Bowl, but how they contained Aaron Donald was one of the most impressive things I recall from a very otherwise forgettable Super Bowl. But Donald, you just knew he was going to make that impact, and man, what a time for him to do it.
2 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, 2 sacks. And how many of the other sacks was he accounting for, taking on 2-3 defenders on there?
And that third down, him and I thought the whole interior line for the Rams really showed up. We know Von Miller played like it was the Panthers Super Bowl over again, but A'Shawn Robinson made a couple of big plays. Greg Gaines, as reliable as ever.
What about Jones, number 50, made mad plays as a linebacker?
Yeah, they were so happy to get him back, because that meant Troy Reader less snaps, and Ernest Jones they're one linebacker. So yeah, he had the sack. He blew past Mixon. So.
How do you feel about the Aaron Donald stuff? A report came out that he might retire if they won. His accolades are crazy. 7-time first-team All-Pro. Right, 3 Defensive Players of the Year. Has been to 2 Super Bowls. He won one now. He's been per PFF, and you know how I feel about PFF, but no one has graded higher than him since they started doing this stuff too.
He's the most dominant player in the league. There's no one more dominant. I think he's in that conversation now with Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor as the greatest defensive player ever. I don't think that's hyperbole. You see what he does on a year-to-year basis. He consistently affects games. He terrorizes game plans. It's just, you can't block him. You just have to hope, obviously, either double team him, or there's times where because he just blows through gaps. Sometimes he'll lose his positioning, but for the most part, Like this, there's never been like he puts up numbers like an edge rusher.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really lead the field.
So that's the thing that jumps out to me the most from him. Now, he was recording 15-plus sack seasons, some 20 sack seasons as a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
And, his off-season regimen is like he trains with the knives and shit, which is always like a fascinating video to watch. He's the biggest guy I've ever seen with a shredded six-pack.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Fucking freak of nature. Yeah. The thing with Donald, I feel like him and Ed Reed are the two most dominant defensive players I've ever seen in my life watching football. I could probably say, honestly, about like 15 years of me watching football, like really understanding, I'll be 31 in March, but I feel like 15 years is how I remember 15 years ago in the NFL. And I feel like the two players that jump out to me from a defensive standpoint is Ed Reed and Donald, and then that like 2-3 Revis year stretch from like 2009 to 2011 before he got hurt. That's about it. But consistency wise, it's Donald for sure, man. And I think it puts a bow on a unanimous Hall of Fame career for sure.
Right. Like I think everyone doesn't want him to retire, but he has nothing left to prove, and if he thinks it's the best decision for his health, you have to respect it. And what a better way to go out.
Yeah.
Like he had a signature walk-off play.
Yeah. And it's just weird to hear that kind of conversation because we're talking about how dominant he is. He like just turned 30 also. He's made a ton of money. Mm-hmm. But like you said, the only thing that was missing was the trophy case being filled up with a team award. And he was talking about how like he's a team guy, it's all cool. And he never thinks about his legacy. He just goes out and does what he does. You know what's the most fascinating thing about him too? He's missed 2 games in his career. As a guy who is playing a shitload of snaps in a position where it's running backs running into you, blockers coming off the line of scrimmage, and how many guys get rolled up on, right? Like it's crazy.
He has game planned every week.
Unbelievable, man.
And he's as durable as it gets.
Unbelievable.
So it's just something that you have to marvel at because we see all the skill position players, quarterback skill, the limelight, understandably so. They're the most exciting positions, but it's so cool to see someone that plays a gritty position, a position that really doesn't get much fanfare, and he makes highlight reel plays out of it. Like he just there's moments where he just like, wow, he just made that offensive guard look like he shouldn't be playing the sport. Like, there's not many defensive players that could do that to people. So you obviously marvel at, but then you just, like you said, look at the longevity too, because I think that's what really makes Hall of Fame careers. You have to do this for minimum 5 years at elite level to be the Hall of Fame. Like you gotta be at your top to get Hall of Fame consideration. Like I know players get consideration for having 15-year careers, but how many of those years were you considered the best at your possession?
Well, I think it's the Terrell Davis take that people have, right? Like Terrell Davis didn't have a 10+ year career. No. But in the years that he played, those 4 or 5 seasons, he was a savage, and that's a great take and also a question to pose to people. Like, do you value sustained excellence for 15+ years, or do you value someone that has a 4 or 5 year run where it's like clearly he's the best at his position? He's won accolades, he's won championships, whatever it might be. And it's always a fascinating discussion. Like, that's always been my defense for Eli Manning. It's like Eli Manning at the end of his career, the longevity of it, playing for that long, Phillip Rivers playing for that long, your boy too, Matt Ryan. But are you looking at those like 3-4 year stretches of like dominance too? Like Aaron Rodgers, bad example, but I'm saying, like, imagine if Aaron Rodgers only had 2011 to 2015, where he won the MVPs multiple times, and like that stretch is probably like peak Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. So, what do you think of Odell, man? Torn ACL, it's believed. It's not confirmed yet, but it's believed. And he's a guy who, we were talking about him before, but also one thing that the Rams have to address is a lot of guys are free agents. That's
the whole conundrum because Von Miller's a free agent. Whitworth is probably going to retire. So to him, great career. There's going to be a lot of moving pieces there. And then at some point, they're going to have to extend Stafford. So there's, like, look, they're celebrating right now. They could give a damn about the offseason, but it's just the future.
Nah, it was clearly a win.
When you go all in, it's just like, okay, we're going to savor every bit of this. We had our plan, and we succeeded. We got the Super Bowl, but now it's just like, wow, there's gonna be some. It's gonna be interesting to see how that roster looks. But with Odell, hopefully he's back by October. It's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, that's the thing that sucks if you get hurt this late. Like if you get hurt in the playoffs like that, and you have a devastating injury, and also him too. He's a speedy wide receiver, and a lot of his game is that. Now it's 2 ACL surgeries since 2018. That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to see. Yeah. What else stands out to you from this game, man? There's still a couple of things that I definitely want to address, but I'm curious to see where your mind's at with it.
Definitely, man. Like, Sean McVay, we all appreciate what he does. He's one of the best offensive minds in the league. But
kind of called a tight game, right?
He just looked nervous from the beginning, and this is the second straight game where it was just, I understand some decisions, like the Philly special on third down, why? The insistence on
Shady, that might have been the most important play of that game. Because if Cooper Kupp connects with Stafford, saw Jesse Bates coming in on that.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets – who knows? Who knows, right?
Look, Jesse Bates is a fantastic cover safety. He misses a lot of tackles, not really a hard hitter. I think Stafford would have been all right. Jesse Bates is not a good tackler.
Okay,
I've seen him miss it's a problem.
That's fair. I'm just talking about you're just exposing your quarterback out there to just get fucking.
It would have looked a little sketchy, but I think Stafford, he would have been all right. I just think there's moments, and then just the constant running with Akers on first down. It's just I did not like how McVay he had his moments, like I mentioned before, the one with Henderson on the throwback, and then how the couple plays with Odell. The one I think was like a scissors concept that worked really nicely. But then, they were running, maybe because the Odell touchdown influenced them, but they were like slot fades to Van Jefferson. Just waste of plays.
Yeah.
It was just, there was some real frustrating moments with McVay, but then Zach Taylor kind of topped them with the whole final drive with Samaje Perine. So I think both coaches didn't really cover themselves much with glory. And, now to talk with McVay, it's just wonder what his future's like because, I think he will come back, but I worry about how many more years before he gets the urge to get involved with whether he wants to be an analyst or a commentator.
That's a weird report, though. Youngest head coach to ever win a Super Bowl.
No, but it's been coming. Like he's talked about in the past, how he wants to get into being a broadcaster eventually, because he was influenced by John Gruden. Remember, he worked under John Gruden. So this summer when he did like a podcast, he did like a 10.
With Peter Schrager from The Ringer, yeah.
And he talked about how much he just loves doing analyst work. So, and he seems very committed to being with his family. So, I do wonder.
Yeah, there were reports about him wanting to start a family and whatnot.
So I don't think he'd be going out, but he's another one you have to wonder about his future.